Hello, bright minds and future change makers. You have just tuned in to the Vanya Career Show, where career conversations aren't just about jobs, they are about purpose, passion, and possibility. Welcome to the show. I'm Sunita Rai, founder of Vanya Career Consultancy, and my mission is simple to help you find your unique path. After decades in education and career mentoring, I have learned something simple but powerful. When students know their options, they start making bold, brilliant choices. And that's what this show is all about, helping you see what's possible beyond the conventional routes. In our special series, Beyond MBBS Future Ready Careers in Life Sciences, we have already explored some fascinating journeys from the world of microbiology that powers health and research to the field of optometry, which blends biology, physics, and patient care. Today, we dive into a powerhouse field that's reshaping everything from medicine to agriculture, and that's biotechnology. And guiding us through this journey is a guest who doesn't just teach biotechnology, he lives it, leads it, and is building the future with it. He is a professor of biotechnology at the highly respected Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. His research focuses on bioactive compounds, powerful natural substances that have real-world applications in both agriculture and pharmaceuticals. And here's what makes him truly special. He's not stopping at research papers. He's taking his lab innovations out into the world by pursuing entrepreneurial ventures that offer sustainable science-backed solutions for real-life problems. Yes, he's a scientist, he's a teacher, but he's also an innovator using biotechnology to make a tangible impact on health, food, and the environment. He is Professor Sanjay Saxena. Professor Saxena, welcome and thank you for joining us at the Vanya Career Show. We are so thrilled to have you with us today. It's not every day we get to meet someone who is equally passionate about research and turning that research into real-world change.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, ma'am. I'm really grateful, and I think this show, which has been developed by you, would be beneficial to students, and I would be providing the inputs that could be helpful for shaping students who are interested in making a career in biotechnology.
Professor Saxena, let's begin with the most basic yet powerful question, because many students hear the word biotechnology and instantly think it sounds cool, but I have no idea what it actually means. So for all the young minds watching this, whether they are in school or just starting college, can you help us break it down? What exactly is biotechnology?
Sure,
And why is it such a vital future forward field in today's?
Sure. So simply biotechnology is use of living things which could comprise of plants, animals, microbes, bacteria to develop either products or processes or solve problems which can help the people and the environment to make the earth a better place to live in. And we can think of it like something that we use tools to construct our house or fix our car. Similarly, biology also has certain tools to create products and processes. And the simplest example could be development of antibiotics. All antibiotics which we take when we get ill come through the biotechnological route. Or suppose we want crops which are resistant to drought or salinity, then that is biotechnology which is doing this kind of a work for them. Or in case we want to clean up the pollution, then it is biotechnology which plays a very critical role. There are a variety of biotechnological techniques and tools which are used in developing microbial systems or plant-based systems which can help in tackling the pollution problem. So biotechnology basically is a very vital field today. It's just the next thing which is very important on earth because we are growing at a very fast rate. So food and the land is getting reduced day by day. So food production systems have to be improvised, and that is important. And the third point would be development of eco-friendly products or materials and fuels. Biofuels are the next generation of fuels because all of the fuels which are currently being used are going to deplete at some stage because they are into the natural resource, but biofuels can be continuously developed and reused. These are some vital aspects. So I can say that biotechnology basically is a blend of science, innovation and engineering for healthier lives and better future.
Beautifully explained. It's incredible to think of biology and technology not as two different things, but as partners solving global problems together. And for students, that's not just exciting, it's empowering. I hope all our young viewers can now see how biotechnology is much more than just a lab coat and a microscope. It's a tool to shape the future. Now let's clear up another common confusion we hear at Vanya Career Consultancy all the time. Biotechnology, microbiology, genetic engineer. They often get used interchangeably, but they are not the same, right? So let me ask you, how can students understand the difference between biotechnology, microbiology, and genetic engineering? How can they choose the right path that fits their interests best?
Absolutely, this is quite confusing among young generation to understand the critical differences between biotechnology, genetic engineering and microbiology, though they are commonly and interchangeably used in the area of life sciences, but I like to demarcate them as well as give them insight that how they cross each other's path. So the first point is that biotechnology basically is a very broad term which employs the use of biological system as either cell systems or products of the cellular systems in the area or sectors of healthcare, agriculture, then industry, and these applications could be as simple and as complex like development of human insulin. The human insulin was cloned into a bacterial system to produce human insulin. Earlier, the man was using a porcine or a pig insulin. So that is how the biotechnology has revolutionized the healthcare field. Similarly, we could have real world problem of drought resistance in crop plants. So we can generate those kind of plants which can be resistant to drought or which can be resistant to pests. For example, BT cotton. Must have heard about BT cotton. So BT cotton is a transgenic crop which is resistant to the attack by insects. So these are some biotechnological products which are challenging the real-time problem. That is how biotechnology is helping. We can develop a variety of products also. For example, bioplastics, which is biodegradable. That is the next generation of material. So these are all the broad area applications of biological systems. But when I talk about microbiology, the microbiology is a specific study of microorganisms. Those which we see through the microscope, they are coming under the domain of microbiology. So the question is that how is this different? Well, microbiology basically is playing an important role in deciphering different type of microbial systems, their interactions with different living systems on the earth. For example, how is a microbe interacting with a human? How is a microbe interacting with a plant? How is a microbe interacting with an animal? And what are their ecological interrelationships? So these play a very critical and crucial role. You can develop a very good career fit either in the food industry where you can use microbes for fermentation processes, and the simplest example being curd. Curd is a product of a microbe which is commonly used, and then you can also have the problem of cleaning wastewater through microbial systems. There are a variety of applications, and the career fit can be in a pharmaceutical industry, in a food industry, in an environment industry. So that is a job of a microbiologist. He specializes in microbiology. The third is genetic engineering. Well, genetic engineering is something which is dealing with your genetic makeup. And the genetic makeup, you all must have read by now that it is made up of DNA, deoxyribose nucleic acid. So deoxyribose nucleic acid can be edited, modified and reshaped, redesigned, and that whole study at the molecular level and at the systems level is comprising of genetic engineering. But when you talk about microbiology as a field altogether, then it becomes very imperative that these tools of the microbiology, genetic engineering and the other streams can come into play when you are doing biotechnologies. But when you go for a specialized study, they are very different, because if you want to become a microbiologist, your domain becomes restricted only to the microbial domain. But if you talk about biotechnology, a biotechnologist can do microbiology also and can do genetic engineering also. So that is the clarity I want to give here at this moment. The job fits can be different, the career fit can be different based on the type of interest you have during the course of your career path.
Beautifully explained. It's so important for students to know these differences, because students often worry they'll take a wrong turn but knowing the distinctions can help them move ahead with clarity, confidence, and specialize smartly, avoiding unnecessary confusions later on. Now, let me bring in another question we hear every day at Vanya Career Consultancy. So, Professor Saxena, what would you say to us who is passionate about biology but doesn't want to become a doctor?
Well, if you are passionate about biotechnology or biology but doesn't want to become a doctor, there are ample of fields available today in this world. Well, we talked about 3 terms already. In biotechnology, you can become a biotechnologist, develop new medicines, develop new sustainable farming systems, develop new kind of ecosystems, design ecosystems. Today people are talking about designing ecosystem. Today we are talking about creating a life form in Mars using microbial systems. So these are all a part and parcel of biotechnology. The second is molecular biology and biotechnology, so we could understand what are the different disease causing organisms, how do they cause infections, how can you modify them. That can be done by using and studying the DNA. So you can take up a part in microbiology, which has a career fit in the pharmaceutical industry, the food industry. Even as a researcher, you can join any institute or industry. And the third is environmental sciences. While you are trying to combat with environmental changes, we are facing a lot of environmental changes on a daily basis. So we would like to understand that what are the different microbes which can remodel the environment, where is the deficiency. A lot of microbes currently are being used as fertilizers, and they are called biofertilizers. There are certain bacteria which are used in promoting the plant growth, and they are known as plant growth promoting bacteria. So there are a variety of inputs which are being developed, and now this is a new field and area which is called agrobiologicals. So everything is biological in nature, but specifically for application in agriculture. The third could be a very good example of gene therapy. Gene therapy can be developed if you are interested in higher aspects of molecular biology, genetic engineering. And then you could also take up a career in biomedical engineering. You can develop kits, you can develop diagnostic tools. If you have relevant understanding of the engineering part, you can develop a variety of tools. Today people are developing a variety of tools, prosthetic devices, and a variety of diagnostic kits, rapid non-invasive diagnostic kits to understand different kind of diseases. That can only be done if you are a biotechnologist, right, or a biologist. So it is not necessary that you need to be a doctor. I'll give you a very beautiful example. One of our students was working in the area of molecular biology, and she was working on plant molecular biology, specifically on potato. And at that time, COVID happened. In Patiala, where we are stationed, there were hardly any expertise with the doctors to carry out the amplification and then find out that really the organism is there, amplification using viral markers. This girl helped in doing it, and they gave her the job immediately as a permanent person in the hospital to do all the sampling part, to run the genetic tests and find out that the virus is there or not before taking the patient to a different healthcare setup or isolation ward. So this is just an example that a person is having an expertise in a particular technique, has an expertise for doing something very specific. She was working in plants, but you take the point that she was doing something which is related to humans. So it is the understanding the technique and the technology, not the organism, which is important to be used in biology. And this is not an expertise of a doctor. It is an expertise of a person who loves biology but is not a doctor. So that is the difference. And then you can have a very good career in the area of food science, nutrition. Variety of biological entities are used as probiotics and prebiotics today. And they are giving you a good health and nutritional status. So all these studies also are done by food experts, microbiologists, and not the doctors. But they are ultimately given and recommended by doctors. Another very interesting career is I can be a regulatory person. I can look at something which is helping the pharmaceutical industry to carry out the production.
Well, Professor Saxena, that's exactly the kind of clarity our students need. Medicine isn't the only way to make a difference, and I hope today's episode helps them feel more confident in exploring meaningful alternatives. Which brings me to a connected question. Can biotechnology still lead to a career in the medical or healthcare space, even if a student doesn't want to pursue MBBS?
Absolutely. There are ample scope of biotechnology students in area or in allied sectors. One of the major sectors which employs life sciences and biologist is drug discovery and pharmaceutical industry. There you can be working as a research scientist, there you can be working as a bioprocess engineer, and the companies could be like Pfizer, Biocon, Serum Institute, which are developing a variety of vaccines. This kind of a job is done by biotechnologists and not a doctor. Though doctors can be a part of the evaluation of the therapeutic regimen clearance, but as such there is a huge scope. The second could be you could be involved in genetic testing and diagnostics, because today biotechnology is being used to understand the variety of diseases. We have already deciphered the human genome. We know that the human genome is known. So you can become a person who can be involved in diagnostic testing at the genetic level, or as a molecular diagnostic scientist. One of my students is already working as a molecular diagnostic scientist for identifying different type of cancers at an early stage. So that could be a predictive understanding, and that could be giving you an opportunity as a biomedical scientist also in a hospital where they require these kind of services. Then you can have opportunity similarly in institutes of Indian Council of Medical Research, AIMS, NIH, variety of research institutes by the Government of India like the CSIR and the. And then another interesting area that comes out of this is bioinformatics and computational biology, which is called the predictive science, where you combine your science with data and you study genes, proteins, their effects, and that is how you become a bioinformatician and a data scientist. That plays a very critical role because today we are doing predictive medicine and personalized medicines. That involves a lot of bioinformatics and biotechnology altogether. And this is again not a domain of MBBS. It is a domain of a pure scientist who is working in biology and has a biological understanding of these things. Then you could have a person in regulatory affairs where you can help in carrying out the clinical trials and the trials of the medical devices. For instance, our university, the students are getting placed in the medical device company. Every year they take up 4 or 5 students, and the idea is that they want to understand the nuances of how the medical device is working, and that can be done by somebody who is having an interface of both biology and technology and not an MBBS. That is how the difference lies in, and that is how the clarity is. So there are ample of scopes. You can also go for journalism, science communication. That is an alternative field. You can do an MBA and go for managerial aspects in the service industry of biotechnology. So the scope is unlimited.
From diagnostics to drug discovery, you've just shown how biotechnology can actually support and redefine healthcare without needing an MBBS degree. Now here's a practical question we hear a lot from both students and parents, and it's an important one for planning ahead. Is mathematics a compulsory subject in class 11th and 12th if a student wants to pursue biotechnology in college? And if not, are there different types of biotechnic programs that students should be aware of?
Well, if I talk in that term, you can have an undergraduate program of BSc Honors in Biotechnology. That would be purely sciences part. You will not be taught great details of technology. But if you are talking about a BTech in Biotechnology, yes, that is biotechnology or biology married to engineering technology, and where you need to have a blend of an understanding of mathematics also. So generally, we recommend mathematics as an integral part, but there is no problem in case you have not studied your mathematics in 11th or 12th. For instance, in our institute, the routes are open through NEET as well as through JEE. Why? Because those who come through NEET, we teach them an essential course of mathematics, and those who come from pure mathematics background, they are given an essential course on sciences. So that covers up the void which they had for the last 2 years, and then they can easily take up the course in the coming semesters and take up the career pathway ahead.
Thank you for clearing that up. It's so important to understand these subject combinations early, because choosing the right subjects in school can shape the doors that open later. Now, Mr. Sanjay, let's shift gears and talk practical. Academics are important, no doubt, but in a field like biotechnology, hand-on skills can make all the difference. So tell us, what practical hands-on skills should students start developing early to really stand out in this field?
Well, it is very important to have a practical and hand-on skills experience if you want to remain in the field of biotechnology. Laboratory techniques and instrumental handling is very important, from how to extract a DNA from a biological sample to running a spectrophotometer and doing a chromatographic separation to microbial culture isolation, purification and fermentation. Things should be hands-on experienced, and this is where we have been excelling, because what we provide in the first year of our students entry portal into the biotechnology BTech program is what is called experiential learning. We give them a course on experiential learning where they experience what biology is, and that is open for both who have an exposure of biology and those who do not have an exposure of biology. So that gives them an understanding, a clarity. Then the second point, which is very important, is data. How do you record a laboratory data? How do you interpret a laboratory data? And how do you keep the standard protocols intact? How do you write those standard protocols? What kind of softwares you are using analyzing those data? Today we are a data-driven world, and biology has a lot of data. So data is a very important aspect of life. So that is where we should be very conversant with different softwares like C, Python. These are some basic things. In our university, we have introduced basic C coding to all undergraduates, so that there is no hindrance at any level and they can have an edge over others while they are learning the course. So that is another very important point. And then coming to the documentation, how to write research summaries, how to write poster presentation, this is a very important part. Apart from this, you should also undergo online certifications, which are not very common, but you can specialize in variety of video and theoretical based certifications, as well as you should start your internships in the industry or institutes if you want to make a good career ahead in the beginning of the first year only. Summer vacations don't wail out the time. Summer vacation, go to an institute, learn and understand what is biotechnology doing and how you can gain the best out of it.
Brilliant suggestions. Students, remember, learning software tools, handling lab instruments and developing scientific curiosity early will set you apart from the crowd. Speaking of real-world skills, let's talk about internships and lab work. Many undergraduates think I'll focus on that later, but how important is it really? How important are the internship experiences during undergraduate studies? What kind of opportunities should students actively seek out?
Well, as I have stated earlier also, experiential learning is important. Lab exposure, try to get connected to one of your possible mentors in the university. You can contact any professor who is there and express your desire to be associated with his lab, so that you can learn what is all happening inside the laboratory. It is not always doing, it is sometimes seeing also that makes you learn a lot of things. You see, biotechnology is a very high stake, high risk business, and a person who is valued based on his hand-on experience only, not even if he has a very good theoretical background. Because when you go to the industry, there is a need of a person who is experienced, who has seen something. So internships make you industry ready. So it is important for you to take up internships regularly at regular interval. Apart from that, the institute also is providing internship, like we have a full semester for 6 months internship in an industry or institute as per the student's choice. If he is interested in taking a higher study to make up a good career or a leadership position, we send him to the research institute so that he gains much knowledge and is ready to take up the research problems. And if the student is keen to take up an immediate job, then we send him to the industry so that he can perform and learn techniques, the nuances which are there in the industry, the processes which are done at the industrial scale, because lab and industry is 100% different. What you see in the laboratory is not what is there in the industry. It is totally opposite and totally divergent. Apart from this, internship also gives you a lot of networking. It boosts your CV. It becomes a unique selling point for your CV, and that gives you an opportunity for a better employment. So that is a very important facet. So I would recommend internships to be an integral part. Apart from that, it will also teach you the corporate ethics, corporate behavior, which is important, and team building and team working. So that are the soft skill attributes which are much required if you have to make an industrial career.
Golden advice, Professor Sanjay. Because internships, they're not just about adding to your resume, I would say. They are a lot about discovering your strengths, building networks, and gaining confidence in the real world settings. Now let's talk about the fork in the road that comes after a bachelor's degree. What kind of career options are available after a bachelor's degree in biotechnology? Can students get a job right away or should they plan for higher study?
Well, this question depends on the type of institute the student has graduated upon. For instance, if I take the example of Thapar Institute, generally what happens is with the students whom we send for internships, if they perform very well during their internship, they get a PPO, that is a pre-placement offer, directly from the industry. So that once they complete their 8th semester, they go back and join the industry, if that is the case. But again, a very simple point, when you join an industry at a UG level qualification, the rise is limited because you get an experience, that is good, but the thrust or the panacea which you want to reach is not very clear because your education is a hindrance. So a minimum education of MTech must be a primer if you even want to make a career in the industry also. So BTech is good. You can do BTech and do a shop floor and experience for 1-2 years before you start taking up an MTech course, but not beyond 2 to 3 years in biotech arena because it is better to have a higher degree and then you can have a better opportunity and a better skill both. That is where I have learned, and I have seen people going to the level of vice president in the company with an MTech degree, not even a PhD. So I think that gives a fair idea that MTech should be the bare minimum to be in the industry at least. But nowadays some industries are further demanding PhD also. So it depends and they at times provide you an in-job PhD opportunity also. So while doing your job you can do a PhD as a part-time program also. But that depends, and that is a later stage of development. Yes, they also send you to a lot of training programs inside and outside the country for making you more conversant with the various industrial methods and techniques and regulatory policies from time to time.
Professor Sanjay, that's reassuring, especially for families wondering if this path has immediate job potential. That's really helpful to know that while further studies can deepen expertise, there are still meaningful ways to start building a career after graduation. Thank you for making the roadmap clearer. One question that every student wants an honest answer to is, will there be a job for me at the end of this? So tell us, Professor Saxena, what industries today are actively hiring biotechnology graduates and what kind of roles are in demand?
Madam, well, the roles at the UG levels are limited. You may have a role of a shop floor operator or a technician in the beginning. If you talk about biotechnology, but if you have been working as an intern with that company, then you may also get a job as a junior engineer to work on the platform or on the shop floor. The second point which I want to emphasize is till now, India was not a biomanufacturing hub. We were doing a lot of biotechnology, but we were not recognized as a biomanufacturing hub, and of late, the Prime Minister Modi and the Biotechnology Department, Government of India has come out with a policy called Bio-E policy, which is actually emphasizing India to become a biomanufacturing hub, generate employment for the biotech graduates. What basically is happening is that majority of the biotechnology industries are concentrated in Karnataka, then Tamil Nadu, and then Andhra Pradesh, then you go to Maharashtra and Gujarat. That is the belt where major biotechnology and pharmaceutical industries are located. So basically, there the manpower is much cheaper and easier because there are a lot of undergraduates which are coming up with the courses. At the graduate level, the competition becomes much tougher. But if you are a postgraduate, then you have a leverage because they don't take up a postgraduate course easily because they get a readily available UG job. And the packages are not so very high, but they get a job, they live in their house, they don't have to travel across. So they are feeling more satisfied that after doing a BTech program, I'm happy here. But if you talk in reality, the person with an MTech will have an edge over it. And in biotechnology, I've seen people the first year you are at a package of something like 4 lakhs per annum, and within 1.5 or 2 years you jump to a package of 8 lakhs per annum. That is the kind of jump with experience in biotechnology. So my recommendations would be that please take a MTech course directly. Don't jump to a BTech course and take up a job. Though we are improving, and by next 2 to 3 years we will have many industries coming up, and job opportunities in the north will also open up a lot. But currently they are in exactly the belt of biotechnology, the Genome Valley in the Hyderabad, Ankleshwar area in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka, where all the manufacturing hub is residing. So my suggestion would be a postgraduate degree would be much better. That is giving you a dual course, because you can take up an industry career or you can take up a PhD career at the same time and take up a good job in a research institute where you can continuously go on working on newer aspects and newer domains as per your imagination and innovation. And the very bright area which is coming up is entrepreneurship. I would recommend that rather seeking job, you should be job givers. If you look at different industries from Karnataka till Maharashtra and Gujarat, the different industries could be bioinformatics, the industry which talks about predictive diseases, that in lifetime what kind of diseases will come at what stage. And you must be happy to know that Mr. Shashi Tharoor has got himself tested to know what kind of diseases he'll have in next 10 or 15 years. So there are people who are taking up these kind of things. They take up your saliva, take out the DNA and analyze it. So this is one example of a biotech bioinformatics industry. You have a variety of industries like Biocon, which is producing a variety of antibiotics. Then you have Serum Institute, which is producing a variety of vaccines in India. It's one of the largest vaccine producers in India, based at Pune. So there is a variety of industries in this belt which will give you ample of opportunities if your biodata speaks good and has a leverage on others in terms of your qualifications, in terms of your experience, in terms of your industrial exposure and soft skills. These are all very important facets.
And it's amazing to see that there are many sectors that biotech touches. It's truly, I can say, a future-proof field when you look at the diversity of roles. And now one of my favorite questions, because it's about dreaming beyond the obvious. Not every student wants to work in a lab. Can a biotech graduate explore non-traditional roles in the fields like regulatory affairs, business, bioinformatics, or science communication?
Absolutely. There are huge opportunities available if you want to become a science communicator. Now there are definitive roles in each of the institutes of a scientific communication person who can communicate to the public, to the regulatory bodies, the different products they are developing as per the regulatory guidelines, understand what the regulatory guidelines are and how they are being implemented. So this is not a laboratory exercise, but it is a regulatory auditing exercise. You can audit a manufacturing plant producing an antibiotic or a manufacturing plant which is producing a vaccine based on this kind of skill. Apart from that, you can develop your own business. Now, the business is a very important feature. You can have your own innovations. You can take up technologies. After understanding biotechnologies, you get the technologies license. We have agencies like CCamp in Bangalore. They are giving licensing the technologies. They are hand-holding you. They are mentoring you. Apart from that, they are generating funds for you so that you can become a successful entrepreneur. So that is one area which is very promising, very upcoming. And apart from that, bioinformatics is yet another area which is very upcoming and very promising, because there are a lot of things which are going underhand. You people might not know that every MRI machine or every PET machine which is using a software and analyzing and giving you results about your body is working on a code which has been generated by a biologist either at an IBM lab or some other lab in the world, and they are the one who are writing the different codes and interpretations for these softwares. So bioinformatics is a very prominent and a very promising tool, and with AI coming in, it becomes more powerful to develop a variety of things and applications which can be useful for human beings, from agriculture till food till pharma. I do not know how many of you know that majority of the experiments in pharma industry are now in silico. You hardly do 10 or 15 animal or human trials. Rest all is simulated, and that all simulation is done using bioinformatic tools, and that is being used with the help of AI, so the results are highly accurate. and there is very minor difference between a human experimentation and a simulated experiment. So this is a very promising field, and you can really carve out a very good career. There is one gentleman called Mr. Pallav Bagla. He is a very big and renowned science communicator. His job is to only spread science, and people hire him specifically for then. You can become a content writer for a variety of industry for communicating skills, and you can write their content on the websites. You can develop their flyers, you can develop their product flyers if you are having the knowledge of biotechnology and you have that skill of communication. So the scope is ample, the scope is limitless.
Opens up the horizon. We can say that biotech is no longer just about pipettes and petri dishes. It's also about pitching ideas, telling science stories, and even coding solutions. Students, so whether you are a data nerd, a storyteller, or a policy thinker, biotech has a place for you. Professor Saxena, this has been such an eye-opening and inspiring conversation. Thank you for showing us the real power of biotechnology, and more importantly, the real path students can take within it. From research and innovation to impact and purpose, you have truly given us a 360 degrees view of this exciting world. From understanding the true power of biotechnology to uncovering the many doors it can open beyond medicines, you have helped us see the future not as a faraway dream, but as a path right within our reach. Thank you very much, Professor Saxena, for being here with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity, and I look for more sessions wherein I can talk about much more things in more detail. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. And on behalf of all our viewers and from all of us at Vanya Career Consultancy, we once again thank you for sharing your wisdom, your passion, and your inspiring vision with us.
Thank you.
Friends, as we wrap up today's episode, remember this. The world of biology isn't just about MBBS. It's about curiosity, innovation, and creating solutions for tomorrow. And careers like biotechnology are proof that your love for science can take you to places you may never have imagined. At Vanya Career Consultancy, we believe that no student should ever feel limited by one exam or one dream. Your journey is unique and it's meant to be extraordinary. If you are in class 10th, 11th or 12th and unsure about your subject or career choices, don't worry. Vanya Career Consultancy is here to guide you. And if today's conversation sparked a question in your mind or a possibility in your heart, reach out to us. Let's explore your future together. And before you go, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring career journeys. Share this episode with a friend who needs a little encouragement. Believe in yourself because the world is waiting for what only you can create. This is Sunita Rai, founder of Vanya Career Consultancy, reminding you your dreams are bigger than any boundary. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep discovering, and most importantly, keep daring.